Hey, welcome to Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Keeping new music alive is what I do on the radio and now on video. Conducting live chats with the artists and learning the stories behind their latest release and also playing their new video. A very special thanks to my friend Tim at New Ocean Media. New Ocean Media is a full-service media and management firm founded in 2005. New Ocean Media has established a proven track record in tour press, national press, social media, radio promotion, video servicing, Spotify promotion, and song placement. Our focus is getting our clients to maximum exposure in all mediums. For more information, you can call 800-871-5814 or you can email at info@newoceanmedia.com. Special thanks today to my sponsor, Go-Go Tuners. For all guitar players looking for a focus on ease of use, readability, durability, and accuracy, look no further. The Go-Go Tuner is the choice of many touring professionals and a favorite of casual players. Go-Go's signature green you're in and red you're out screen makes tuning quick and easy. For more information, go to the website at gogotuners.com. Special thanks to WBXO Classic Rock Radio Redefine, allowing me to keep new music alive on the radio airways on the Pat Show every Sunday from 5 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. Only on WBXO Classic Rock Redefined. And a big thank you to Mr. Evan Balzer for allowing me to use his amazing instrumental that you're hearing right now. It's called Trails. To find out more incredible music by Evan, go to his website at evanbalzer.com. And today's special guest from the great rock band Kansas, lead vocalist Mr. Ronnie Platt. Kansas releasing their 16th studio album, The Absence of Presence. We're going to talk to Ronnie about the album, the track, the recording of it, and a whole lot more right here on Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Hey, welcome to Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Another great show today in New York. Such an honor. Thank you, JR. Thank you, Tim. To have one of the great rock bands of all time, Kansas, the vocalist, the man from Chicago or outside of Chicago, my man, Ronnie Platt. Good morning, Pat. Ronnie. What's
Pat, good morning.
On? The absence of presence. Oh,
I am as excited as you, Pat. I swear I am. This album, I never expected to be doing new studio music with Kansas. Let me tell you, the TPI, the Preluge Implicit, was fantastic. And now with this album, there's something about this album. There's just something about the continuity, something about the feel of this album that is just great. It's got Kansas written all over it. People are going to love it.
Look, I got notes all over the place. Let me just tell the listeners the Absence of Presence out this Friday, July 17th. Go to kansasmerch.com. I'm looking at a great t-shirt, key ring, coffee cup, puzzle, vinyl, CD, and if you're limited CD, Blu-ray, art book, liner notes, exclusive band interviews. My goodness, go to Kansas Merch and get there today and buy it. That's number one. Ronnie, congratulations. This brought me to Kansas's roots and back to their DNA of the 70s and 80s. I don't have to tell you about this great lineup. Adding in Tom, I look at like, oh my God, Phil and Rich, they're closing in on 50 years and they still have the desire to put out incredible new Kansas music.
Pat, do you believe it?
I can't thank them enough.
They're knocking on the door of 50 years of Kansas. Is that insane? I've said it a million times. The kudos really go to Phil and Rich.
Absolutely.
To have this desire to still put out new music under that Kansas label, to still have that need to put out creative music, new music. And I mean, where you would think, most people's attention span nowadays is about 2 minutes, but to think that they've carried this desire to put out music all these years, and they were kind of like in a state of limbo there for let's say 16 years, but but what a treat for me, and to have TPI and to add studio music to the to the Kansas library.
It brought me back to the roots. What a great album. Lots of diversity. I mean, Ron, first of all, again, and correct me when I'm going down this road here. So you guys recorded this album on the road, and the first thing that came to my mind is the demands on your vocals. You're going from live shows with that energy, and then probably going on a tour bus for a day or two off, working on the tracks. And I'm not a musician and I'm not a vocalist, but I know the process, and I can imagine going over track and finding out the right harmonies. Oh, and then I need to get rest and sleep and hydration. Talk to me about that whole craziness of that.
Don't worry, I'll be fine. That's okay. I'm going to give you the lead singer's perspective here.
Please do.
Which a lot of people really don't know. I mean, and if you're a drummer and you catch a cold, it's going to affect your playing maybe 10%. If you're a lead singer and you catch a cold, it's going to affect your performance 80%. So it's tough being a lead singer with this kind of schedule. But not only was it the schedule, remember, we're doing the Point of No Return 40th anniversary show, where we're doing the Point of No Return in its entirety.
Right.
But prior to that, we're doing like 60, 65 minutes of cuts from all the other albums. Prior to that, we're doing a 5-6 song acoustic set. Before that, we're in the rehearsal room. And let me tell you, Pat, this band never stops working. This band drills and drills and drills every show. And I got to start taking video or pictures, because people won't believe where we practice at some of these theaters. It's literally closets. Sometimes Rich, Phil, and Rags are in one closet. I'm standing in the hallway with Zach, and Tom and Billy are in the adjoining closet, and we're rehearsing. And this is every show that we do, because as good as it is, you're your own worst critic, and we're constantly tweaking things, constantly getting things better, and it shows, because you could, people that leave our show are like, holy crap, I wasn't expecting that.
That was me when I saw you guys up here in Kingston, New York on 2018. I mean, I've seen the band a dozen times. I got to meet you guys that day, and I walked out of there, and oh my goodness, what a terrific show. And I wanted to tell everybody, I'm happy you brought up the work ethic, because I read about it. So I'm the guy in New York that meets you guys pre-show, post-show, and rolls the dice.
Yahtzee!
And if you get a 5 of a kind, totaling in 3 rolls, I play the entire new album on my radio show. And when I brought it up to JR, and JR, he's like, I would love for you to do that, but you have no idea what these guys are going to go through before the show, which I met you guys before the show for a quick picture and a hello. And now I'm happy you brought it out, because I read about that going, this is insane. These guys are out there, they're behind the stage for a half hour or more before they even take the stage.
Right, Pat. But getting back to recording the album while we were touring, I mean, it's you know, it's a half-hour sound check. It's at least an hour rehearsal. It's a 2-hour and 15-minute show. Boom, back to the hotel, up in the morning, traveling to the next one, and then doing that every day, and then fitting in recording an album. I mean, talk about an intense schedule. So it's tough. It's tough, but it's like you're so absorbed with what you're doing, you kind of like block out everything else, you know, and God, we couldn't be happier with the final product, the way it turned out. So sometimes when you block everything else out and you've got that tunnel vision, you've got that focus, a good thing comes of it.
Absolutely. Hard work pays. I always say, and dreams come true. And your story alone, Ronnie, as a truck driver, and I'll get to that in a minute, but the title, The Absence of Presence, look where we are at today.
We do not.
How did you even hit that out of the park?
We do not claim clairvoyancy. And it's really strange. I remember when Phil, he submits titles for songs, you know, lyrical titles. And, you know, Tom and I, on this last album, Tom and I, we take those titles and he gives us, you know, a couple of ideas of where he's, you know, what he's thinking about and how he came to that title. But I remember him telling me about this title and I'm like, wow, that's great. You know, and in our conversations, it's like, it's gotta be the title of the album. It's just too good. It's just too really good. And I think I actually think that we agreed on titling the album before that song was even done. So really something, but it's also kind of eerie. It really is. Because I mean, the concept, this album title, we're probably knocking on the door of at least a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So I mean, how can we?
That's incredible.
The association that title has with what's going on right now, and me living just outside of Chicago, where it's congested all the time, and to have the pandemic, you know, have such an effect, and to drive out on the street and see nothing, see no one on the street. I mean, the absence of presence.
Exactly.
You know, it really was eerie. But don't blame us for it.
No. You just can't make it up. You know, people like
it really is eerie how it came out. But you know, that's part of the Kansas. I don't know what word to describe it, but something that's always been in Kansas. You know, making your listener think. You know, one of Rich's favorite words is ambiguous. Okay. You know, you don't exactly want to tell people exactly what it is. You want to let them, you know, come to their own conclusions. And that's a great thing about progressive music, and, you know, leaving it open to self-interpretation.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you about the songwriting process. Yeah, I know, you know, having Zak and now Tom on board, I'm like, holy crap. Talk about a light. I'm talking about an excitement and an inspiration there. Just like looking at these guys going, where did this come from? How hard is it, Ronnie? How hard is it when we'll go to the Preluge Implicit and Zak? I don't think Zak was on that album, right? He came in after you guys recorded that, right? Am I correct?
Well, he was producing TPI.
Okay.
And had such a big hand in the songwriting. And again, just another weird story how we're leaving the hotel one morning, Phil and I, to go to the studio, and we're talking about Zak. And I said, you know, gosh, you know, what would you think about adding him to the band? And Phil looks at me and like, I was just thinking that. Wow. And that day at the studio, yeah, Phil calls Zak and says, you know, can we step into the other room? Can we talk for a minute? And Zak's like, you know, what did I do wrong now? Bring out the whip, boy. You got to work harder. But he actually joined the band during the recording of Preluge Implicit, and let me tell you, Pat, Zak Rizvi and Tom Brislin, talk about a 1-2 punch. Probably one of the best guitar players and one of the best keyboard players in the world. And you know what? I challenge anybody, you know, to fight me on that. You know what? They're just, I mean, it's wild. Remember, for a couple of Kansas albums, there was this guitar player. What was his name? Steve Morse.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, incredible. And Zak's playing Steve's stuff. You know, when we do something from those 2 albums, I mean, Zak's covering Steve's parts. Absolutely amazing. But to have such a talent in songwriting, producing, and Pat, I'll tell you a story. When we were recording TPI, Zak's at the console, and you know the liner is just flying by on the computer, and you know Chad Singer, our front of house mixer, was also engineering.
Okay.
And Zak's like, Chad, stop. Chad, you know, stops the recording. Go back about 12 measures. There was like one note that was a half step off underneath a slew of other stuff that's going on. And Zak's ear caught that. It was absolutely, I'm like, this guy ain't real. Well, I mean, and that's, I can't say enough about Zak Rizvi, all around musician, producer. Boy, what a talent. What a talent.
How difficult, maybe it's not even difficult, when Zak comes up with a line, Ron, or a song, and he says, this is what I'm thinking. Does he let you just go with it and you add the Ronnie Platt to it? And then
every song's a little different. You know, he comes up with the foundation for everyone, and everyone starts adding their flavor to it. You know, he has an idea for a melody, but of course, you know, I'm going to embellish that. You know, I like to showboat a little myself.
Absolutely.
So,
why not?
You know, and it's you know, it's like working a piece of clay. You know, you constantly rework it and rework it and rework it and form it, and you know, look at it from different angles. And then in the studio, it's really something. You know, you're listening to something, you know, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. You take a break, you come back the next day, and you hear things a little differently because you're listening to something with fresh ears. So it constantly gets formed and reworked. And the tough thing is having the discipline to say when to stop.
Right.
You know, because, you know,
you could go on and on and on.
Oh, you could go on, and you know, you end up wanting to add different sounds and different instruments and rewrite. The discipline is really knowing when to stop.
Walking out of that show, I said to my brother, the musicianship of this band is just over the top, just way over.
Thank you.
And that was before Tom. And now
Yeah.
Tom comes on board, and I'm like, can it get any better than this? And I think I answered my own question. I think about Rich and Phil and the Desire. Why wouldn't they, when he look to the right and go, Rags, Ronnie, Billy, and now Zak and Tom? I'm like, yeah, we're gonna play a little bit more, I think. I mean, why?
It's definitely a Super Bowl team.
Absolutely.
Can I say that word? That's been trademarked, hasn't it?
I love the diversity of the tracks. I love Throwing Mountains. I can't wait to hear that live in your face.
You too.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Jets Overheard. Memories.
Overhead.
Jets
overhead.
It's just the what was it? Memories. I got them written down here. Circus of is that Tom singing the river?
Yes.
River Cut. Wow.
That's Tommy singing on that one. That's not too great, is it?
Well, it gives you a chance to chill. You know, that's,
like I said, I'll be fine. You know,
people, I'm living my dream, doing what I do, and I know you hit lotto, getting this opportunity of a lifetime, and then you replacing Steve Walsh, and you're going, holy shit. And then you get the job, and then you learn all about these guys, this rehearsal, this incredible work ethic, and, everybody says, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, don't I know it.
But look at you, Ronnie. You wouldn't give it up in a heartbeat. I mean, this is your dream. Do you still got your CDL?
Pat, I do.
I had to ask you.
My CDL is still valid. Believe it or not, one of my best friends, he owns a trucking company, and I've kept it up just in case he needs me to do something special. If I happen to be off, I happen to have a little free time now, and I do a little. But I have kept it up. I don't know, for the fun of it,
I can see you back in the tour bus and they go, hey, the bus driver don't feel good. Ronnie, can you come to the front of the bus? And you know this area pretty well. Uh-oh, did I lose it?
Legally, I am licensed to haul hazardous materials. But enough about the band.
Oh my God. Your story alone was like, I said, unbelievable, of hard work pays, and saying, man, just that one opportunity. You're in Shooting Star. And I read somewhere that you actually auditioned for Foreigner.
I did.
When Lou had their little fall back there, I guess it didn't feel good.
Let me take you back even farther. I probably started playing in bars underage. Sorry, Mom. And just really cut my teeth. And I never stopped playing. I always had at least one band. Now, remember, this is all having a day gig.
Right.
My entire life. I always had at least one working band. At one time, I had a day gig in 3 working bands.
Wow.
I'm really insane. But there was a time I was approached from Survivor.
Oh, okay.
I had
Frank Sullivan, Jim Peterick.
Frankie Sullivan.
Jim Peterick.
Jim Peterick had just left the band at that point. I'm not going to get into the story of that, but I was really a rehearsal away from joining Survivor, and it never happened, unfortunately. And I got so excited about that. Chicago band. I've known Jim forever, and what a great songwriter Jim Peterick is. And I was so excited. And in this business, let me tell you, if you don't have thick skin, you better not think about the music business, because this music business is deny, turn down. You have to be thick-skinned to stay in this business. And I got so excited about that. And when it didn't happen, it was really a letdown. I got depressed because I had such high expectations. And then in 2004, Jeff Jacobs called me, and I didn't know who he was. And at that time, he was the keyboard player for Foreigner.
Okay. And
he had a studio here in Chicago, and he initially called me about doing some commercial work. And, would you be interested in doing some commercial work? And I'm like, hey, you know what? I like to eat. I like to eat, work is work. And I guess he got under the gun. And I was totally unprepared for this. And like the day before I go to the studio, he goes, well, I'm going to level with you. I'm the keyboard player for Foreigner, and we're looking for a new singer. And I was shell-shocked. And I'm like, and how ironic, I was in a cover band at the time that did a set of Journey, a set of Bon Jovi, and a set of Foreigner. So I think that's how he got in contact with me. So I auditioned for that, but I think at that time, Mick had already settled on Kelly, who does a phenomenal job. I mean, Kelly's freaking great. And not to mention a great guy. So that was already established. So I really didn't put a lot of weight into that. But then, another door opened up. I had a mutual friend that said, "Hey, are you familiar with the band Shooting Star?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Bought the album Hang On For Your Life, played it to death. One of my favorite songs of all time is Last Chance.
Oh, yeah.
What a great, and he's like, "Would you be interested in singing for Shooting Star?" And I'm like, "I'm there."
Park the truck.
I ended up meeting Van McLean. May he rest in peace. He's gone now. But boy, how does a guy from Chicago end up in not one, but two bands from Kansas that have violin players?
Exactly.
I mean, the odds of what I've experienced are so astronomical. It's really hard to believe. But, to be the lead singer of Shooting Star from 2007 to 2011, and then I went back to my cover band. The Shooting Star wasn't touring too much, and again, like to eat, So I went back to my cover band, and a couple of years later, here a friend of mine, Dina, who happens to be Dennis DeYoung's niece. I don't know if you've heard this story, but she texted me one day and she said, knowing that I'm like the biggest Kansas fan in the world, "Did you see this?" And here it's the announcement of Steve's retirement.
Okay.
And, usually when things are released into the press like that, they've already got, the path is already laid out. They already got, someone working with the band. And this was right in the middle of Kansas touring. And it was kind of a leap of faith. I just took a chance. And Rich and I were friends on Facebook because we met before that because I had a cover band that opened up for Kansas quite a few times in the past. But I think he really took note of me when we played the Moondance Festival up in Walker, Minnesota. And Pat, I got to tell you, this lineup, I never get tired because it's unbelievable, this lineup that was at Moondance Festival. It was Shooting Star, Foghat.
Oh, I love it.
Kansas, Sheryl Crow, and Journey.
Wow.
That was just Thursday night.
Oh, my God.
Is that insane?
That's insane.
That is an insane lineup. But I think that's really when Rich took note of me, because when Shooting Star when we were doing our set, I looked over at the side of the stage and there's Rich Williams at the monitor board, watching our set.
That's exactly what he told me. I interviewed Rich a couple of years ago and I said, "How did you meet Ronnie?" And he goes, I happened to come upon a Shooting Star show and I kind of knew him. And I said, "Wow, this guy, he's got the audience like right where he wants. His voice is great." And he said, "I always kept it on the side of my head."
That's because I promised everyone a 20.
But kind of fast forward, and I know you didn't have to audition. You go down to Atlanta, you meet with Rich and Phil. And the crazy part about it is Steve's still there, right? For like 3 months. So you can't even get excited because he can always turn around and say, "Nah, I think I'm going to stay."
Oh, believe me.
That had to be like,
it goes back to being thick-skinned. It's like I never count the gig until I'm walking up to my keyboards, because anything can change in a split second in this business. So was I excited? Oh, hell yeah. I was jumping out of my skin. But, my past experiences kind of had that safety net up saying, you know what? Don't jump into the deep end quite yet, because anything can change. So, but it really kind of came into reality when I went to Atlanta for that first rehearsal, and it was something walking into that first rehearsal. It was like any other band I was in, everybody's there to rehearse, do their part, everybody was real welcoming, and it was just fun from minute one.
I want to add to the listeners. I read, and you mentioned Dennis, and I just interviewed Dennis not too long ago with his new album, and I love Dennis. And the fact that Dennis gets kicked out of Styx and they bring in Lawrence and the people are booing, and you go, oh my goodness, wait a minute here. I'm replacing the great Steve Walsh. And what's going to happen when I take the stage? Be careful what you wish for. I finally, make it to the major leagues. And I'm shitting my pants going, okay, here you go. Come on there, Ronnie. Let's give it over.
Bad timing. It was bad timing. And Pat, I kid you not, maybe a month before my first show with Kansas, I see VH1 Behind the Music with Styx, and they're interviewing Lawrence, and he's saying a year he was in the band, up to a year, people were in the audience going, F you, where's Dennis? Where's Dennis? And I'm like, wait a second, I'm taking over for Steve Walsh. Did I just put my head in the noose? Did I just jump into a burning car? What the heck is wrong with me? And I have to tell you, from day one, from my first show in Oklahoma City, the fans have been great to me.
You do a great job.
I said to myself, you know what? If I win half the fans over, I'm going to count my blessings. And at this point, I think I have about 90% of them.
Oh, you're there, brother. We love you.
How can I complain?
We love you. But I think your story is so interesting, and folks might not realize that here, like anybody else, dreams, I tell my kids, dreams come true. But when you get there, you better have your A game, right?
That's right.
It's easy. You can sing Point of No Return, Carry On, but I'm in this band, and I'm not going to be the guy in Wikipedia that goes, oh, Ronnie Platt, he kind of like sucked after a while. Not me. I'm in, right?
Pat, it is, whether I was in the cheesiest cover band playing the most dive bars you could imagine, let me tell you, I've played a few. Oh my God. It has always been my mindset, no matter who I was singing for and what I was singing, I always wanted to get better. And remember, I got this job in Kansas at the age of 52. 52 years old. I'm 58 right now. And I had so many people write me after I got the job in Kansas, like, oh my God, you're such an inspiration to us old folks that, don't give up on your dreams, keep on. And it's true. It really is true. I mean, I could have easily said at the age of 30, well, I gave the music business a shot, it's time to do something else. I never did that. And even if I would still be doing what I'm doing if I wasn't in Kansas, because that's how much I love the music.
Well, and we're the same age, and I got into the radio end a little bit late in life, but I prepare myself so hard to read about you and read about the album and play the album. And I found a niche that nobody's keeping new music alive. Then I found a niche of this crazy ass dice game. And the other day I interviewed Klaus Miner of the Scorpions.
Oh my God.
And it was a dream come true. He wrote a song, Sign of Hope, during the lockdown. But our Zoom, our chat like yours, they put on their Facebook page. And
nice.
6 million viewers. And I pinch myself every day going, hard work pays. And you keep striving because you love to do what you're doing. So what advice, let me ask you, go back to the band. What advice did you give Zak and Tom when they joined, since you were the newer guy before they came along, about this like work ethic. They loved it, right? They just absorbed it and said, "I'm ready."
They should be giving me advice. Yeah, really. I mean, you know, when you look at Tom, golden resume boy, you know, with playing with Meatloaf and Debbie Harry and Yes, I mean, this is a well-seasoned guy. Like I said, one of, if not the best keyboard player in the world, in my opinion. And I get to stand next to him. You know, I get to run over to his side of the stage and get tutored every show.
You get behind your keys and go, "Oh, wait a minute, I can't."
Right.
That's all you, brother.
It's like, but you know, I look at Tom and I think to myself, I can do that. It might take me a month.
I always look at this band as Billy is like the secret weapon. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does. Okay. That guy can sing. That guy is a monster bass player.
Can I say something here? Can I say? Okay.
Please.
Billy Grier. Not only are you going to meet one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but also one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, I don't know how many times he sent me running to the bathroom because he had me just about ready to pee myself laughing. But, you know, he really, I really feel he had the band on his back for many years because Steve was suffering, having a hard time with his voice. And who steps in? Billy Grier. You know, Billy Grier was handling, you know, Steve's parts and really enabling the band to go on. And to have such, let me tell you, like I said, we rehearse every show. You take Billy for granted so quickly because he makes it look so easy.
Wow.
It's sickening. You know, I mean, we share lead vocal duties, you know, and again, you know, 35 years plus in the band. He's the oldest new guy. So he jokes about that. It's pretty funny when, "Oh, you're not an original. You're one of the new guys." Yeah. 35 years I've been with the band. I guess I'm a new guy, but, yeah, Billy, incredible voice, incredible player, and just an incredible personality.
Yeah, you could just see it. I said, he is the glue that nobody ever, you know, you just don't, you watch that guy and go, wow. Have you ever had the opportunity to meet Steve, Brodie?
Oh, many times. You know, we never sat in a room for an hour together and shot the shit. It was usually, you know, just in passing at shows and stuff because I had cover band that opened up for Kansas. And then, of course, I talked to him for a while when we did the Moondance Festival up in Walker, Minnesota. So, you know, in the times I was, you know, I ran into their trailer and said, "You know, hi guys, how you doing? You know, I have a good set." And, you know, a couple of summer festivals around here, my cover band Ara opened up for Kansas quite a few times, like maybe 5 or 6 times like that over the years. So and how ironic is this? I had a Yes cover band called Drama. Can you see the poster? There's
Drama's I see that.
Poster.
Yep.
Was together from 87 to 90, and we played. Well, 95% of our entire repertoire was Yes music, and the drummer Neil Holmquist, his son is now Phil Ehart's drum tech.
Oh wow!
And has been so. There's a lot of associations, you know, through the different lines that I've had with Kansas.
Wow! I mean, just a remarkable story. What's your favorite song to sing? I mean, well, before I ask you that, who puts the set list together when you got a great library of, I mean, you got to play the hits, but there's so many great deep tracks
I kid.
among all these. And then you just put this one out. You got to do Throwing Mountains. You just got to do that.
And it's why Phil will never, ever put the responsibility of making the set list in my hands. Because there's just, I would go album to album and say, there's no way we're not playing this one. And we would end up doing a 6-hour show, which is, it's tough. It's tough because you go back and you listen to albums and, you know, you hear stuff you haven't heard in a while. And it's like, oh my God, we should be playing that. From day one, I've told Phil, we got to play Windows. You know,
my God, yes.
It's only 3.5 minute song. It's a short song. We got to fit that in somewhere, you know, but to cover everything, to do the Left Overture 40th anniversary, every song on Left Overture is a masterpiece. It's hard to look at that album and put a set list together and say, okay, what on that album are we not going to play? It's tough. It really is tough. Same thing with Point of No Return. You know, and then I listened to the albums that Morse was on. Oh my God, I would love to do Silhouettes in Disguise.
That would be over the top.
I would love to do that, but
then you got to cross out one that and you go, I can't do that.
And it's, you know, of course we can't do a show and not do Dust. Of course, it's the biggest, not only the biggest song for the band, it's like the biggest song of all time. You know, Pat, where have you been that you haven't heard that? The dentist office, the grocery store, elevators, the radio, in all different kinds of media. You've heard Dust in the Wind everywhere.
And it was a Kerry, just a workout warm-up, right? I think his wife said, why don't you put a song together?
Yeah, and that is a true story of how that happened. So, of course, you got to play Dust. Of course, you got to play Wayward Son. Of course, you got to say, do Point of No Return. Of course, you got to do The Wall.
Play the Game. Hold on. I mean,
you know, and then if you're in live, you know, it's tough. Fire with Fire, Silhouettes in Disguise, you know, then.
And you got to keep the momentum going.
Lamplight Symphony, you know. I mean, I could just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of songs that we've played that I'd like to play again, and songs that we haven't played yet. And again, it's tough, you know. Talk about a band. When I joined this band didn't need to do new music. It already had a wealth library of songs to choose from, and enough songs that it's really hard to not play certain songs. So now to add to that problem,
exactly.
What the heck is wrong with us, right? But now, I mean, you talk about Throwing Mountains. When we released that, you know, obviously prior to the album release, wow, the feedback I got from that song. So, oh my God, Ronnie, this is the best Kansas song I've heard in 30 years, blah, blah, blah. You know, just on and on and on. And so many people classify it as progressive metal because it's such a heavy, you know, it's such a heavy in-your-face song, but yet still has great dynamics. You know, the song comes down in that first verse, and that's you know, that's really a common formula for Kansas songs, is to have that dynamics. You know, when you go over and you think about the old Kansas albums, Audio Visions, you know, you've got, you know, Hold On. It was such a heartfelt, you know, intense tune, but then you've got the hard rockers. You know, it's really quite a mix of music, but yet all unmistakably Kansas. And that's the same.
That's how I felt with this album. It brought you back.
Same thing with this album.
This DNA.
You've got Throwing Mountains, and then you've got these heartfelt, straight ahead ballads like Memories Down the Line and Never. Just really touching, emotional songs. And then
Jets.
Absence of Presence or Animals on the Roof, you know, just really hardcore prog rock songs. So it's really a sampler platter of everything on this album.
I mean, Jets, the piano piece, boom, it gets your attention right away.
Yeah.
And it takes you to this mythical place. And then the guitar, and then, I mean, it just goes and goes. And what a great piece. Ronnie, I've taken so much of your time. I know I could ask you a million questions. Favorite Kansas, well, maybe hardest Kansas song to sing. I mean, Hold On. Hitting a Note with Carry On.
You know, Hold On has really kind of become my signature song in the band. We do it acoustically. And, you know, there's nights when I'm just feeling it, you know, and the band breaks at the end of that. And, you know, I sing that last note of Hold On. And if I'm feeling good, if I'm going to hold that note for 30 seconds, I'm going to hold it for 30 seconds, you know? And it really has become my signature song.
Love it.
In the band. But boy, you know, any Kansas song is really a tall order because Steve, he set the bar, you know, and he set that bar really high. He really did. And anybody that questions Steve's ability, I challenge you to go back and listen to Two for the Show, the live album from the 70s. Steve is pristine. I mean, Pat, I'll tell you, my inspirations, Steve Walsh, Steve Perry, Lou Gramm, Brad Delp, John Anderson, believe it or not, Geddy Lee. Listen to Geddy Lee on the album Caress of Steel. You want to talk about some intense vocals. Wow. So, you know, I picked some guys that set the bar extremely high, but Steve did that in Kansas, and all I can do is try to do the best I can and hope the Kansas fans are happy with that.
Well, we love it. We are very happy. Ronnie, I've been asking everybody, I'm putting a video collage together of everybody I'm talking to just take a moment and thank the first responders. Hey, this is Ronnie Platt of Kansas, and I want to thank everybody on the front line fighting this battle that we're dealing with today. If you don't mind taking a quick second. Go ahead whenever you're ready, sir.
Hello, everybody. This is Ronnie Platt, lead singer for the band Kansas, and we want to thank all the first responders, all the people on the front lines that are helping us stay safe and getting us through this difficult time. We thank you so much. Now carry on.
I love it. Now carry on. Yeah. I gotta thank JR. I cannot thank JR and Tim enough for all this rescheduling heading that I gave them, and I can't thank you enough, my friend. Get the album. Oh my God, get the album. Everybody go to kansasmerch.com. This thing is the best of the best. I love it. I love playing it. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, Ronnie, as much as I have, man.
I have. And let me tell you, Pat, you know why you should buy 4 CDs of The Absence of Presence? You know why you should buy 4?
I can buy 4. Go ahead. Why?
Because this way you have a full set of drink coasters.
Oh. Well, I want to somehow get you guys, even if it's a
you're going to do the dice. Do the dice thing quick.
Yeah, no, I gotta. Well, no, you gotta do the dice thing. That's
okay.
Yeah, woo! We'll get you next time.
Okay.
It won't be on a show, but if I get a chance to Zoom with you next time, I'll make sure JR tells you to get a set of dice ahead of time, and then we can do that. Thank you so much, my friend.
My pleasure. Great talking to you. Have a wonderful day and stay safe and enjoy that album.
Excellent.